Hey folks, I'm so glad that you're here today. My name is Mike Ring at Old Glory Bank. We're a minute early, so we're just going to sit here for a second. Feel free to do some chats, quickly tell your friends you're on this, send the link. For those of you who do miss it, and hopefully there's not many, we are going to record this and send this around to all of our customers and friends. I'm sure the team is going to post it. It's 1 o'clock by my time, so we're going to get started. I'm going to do the most important thing first and introduce the most innovative man in banking, not me, Michael Staw. Michael Staw, thank you so much for being here, and he's going to be the star of the show. I'm just going to do some setup stuff, and so tell you a little
Thanks.
bit about.
Great to be here.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about Michael. Is before he was the most innovative man in banking, he was actually my friend for 30 years, my client, and now he's my partner at Old Glory Bank, along with so many great people that we have that make everything so great. And you don't get to see Michael very much up until like the Genius Act came out, because he used to be in the basement, although today we let him upstairs, you can see, and working, making our product great, but most importantly, working on next gen banking, waiting for the Genius Act to be passed, which it has. And so now Michael's come out from the basement and he's doing lots of webinars and podcasts and interviews. In fact, recently he and I were having a cup of coffee and someone walked up to me and thinking, oh, someone who, recognized me from the Senate hearing or something, one of the commercials on Old Glory Bank. And they said, it's Michael Staw, the most innovative man in banking. And I was like, what? How'd this happen? Is this the revenge of the nerds? So Michael has been an amazing team member along with his team, and we're going to get into that. So first, what we want to do today is talk to people who are both knowledgeable about crypto and those who may not be. And we're going to have fun stuff for everyone. And so we're going to spend just a few minutes talking about some of the basic terms. And the reason why we're here today is we have the premier bank for the freedom economy. We don't pick and choose winners. Even if you don't agree with us, we do not debank you. You'll never hear me say the regulators made me do it. Like our friends at the big banks say, we do the hard work in Bank America. And if you are freedom loving, believe in the flag, faith, community, country, family, we're the bank for you. And we have humbly submitting to you, the best online bank product in the planet. It's not even close, for business and consumer, online loans, online debit cards, all the stuff you need. But it wasn't enough. We've got to evolve into the DeFi community, and we'll talk about that, the DeFi economy, because you should have the freedom to choose. If you want to use fiat and you never want to touch crypto, you have that at Old Glory Bank. If you love digital and you don't want to touch fiat, you have that at Old Glory Bank. It is your choice. It's your money, so you get to spend it how you want. And so we're going to quickly talk about some terms, and there's not many. There's only 4, and you're going to be fine with them. And so first is the blockchain, and this seems to be the one that everyone talks about it for years, and it's going to be the most valuable asset ever designed, and I think it's finally caught up to where it should be. But folks, this is just a fancy word for a digital ledger, a database. And by the way, most of our economy is already cashless and runs on a ledger system. So do not get overwhelmed by the concept of crypto or a blockchain. Blockchain is just a ledger system. And if you think about today, when you do a financial transaction, you are using a ledger system. So think about Old Glory Bank. We keep your deposits and your debits and your card transactions on a ledger. Visa, MasterCard, American Express keep your transactions on a ledger. The federal government, i.e. the Federal Reserve, keeps your wires and your checks on a ledger. Nacha keeps your transactions on a ledger. And all of those are controlled either by the government, association, or a company. Now, in Old Glory Bank's case, it's a good company, but it's a company nevertheless. And so every swipe of a card, every direct deposit, every wire, every paper check, all get written to a ledger, but that ledger is non-public and it's controlled by someone other than you and the public at large. And that's what's so different about the blockchain. So the blockchain is a ledger, a database, a digital ledger database, but it's decentralized. It's free from interference, for the most part, from private control and the government. So that's all that a blockchain is a decentralized ledger. And that's what you want. If you believe in freedom, The key to freedom is decentralized financial system, and that starts with the blockchain. So that part's easy. Just think of the blockchain as a ledger system to understand who owns what. So when you transmit and send digital assets, you know who gets it, and that blockchain is what does that. Now, none of this matters unless you have a wallet to keep track of your digital assets. But before we really can understand the wallet, you have to understand two concepts, and they're easy. First is the blockchain operates on digital addresses, much like a bank account is based on an ABA, you all have heard that term, and an account number. I can wire you, or in this case, Michael Staw, money to his bank account by inputting our great Old Glory Bank ABA number and his personal account number, which means I need to know his bank account ABA and his personal account number, and I know it's tied to him. Let me say that again. The ABA number and his account number is essentially public and tied to him, and that's part of the problem with the traditional non-DeFi economy. And then the other concept that you have to know about a wallet, one is the address concept, but it's the cryptographic key, which I'm going to shorten to be a crypto key. So let's talk about a digital asset. I can send a Bitcoin to Michael Staw, not by inputting his ABA or his account number, but by sending it to his public address. And that address, his wallet address, and we'll talk about that, is actually public. But I can't send it to him unless I authorize the transaction with my private cryptographic, i.e. crypto key. That's where the term crypto comes from, folks, cryptographic. So crypto key. And this crypto key allows me to send it to him. And because I have it, I authorize it. So it's like a digital signature. And then I send it to his address. And then his crypto key will protect it once it's in his control. But you know what? Michael doesn't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. The blockchain, which we just talked about, does the work, and it verifies ownership, verifies that my crypto key was correct and my signature was correct, and verifies his address. And so just like that, we have sent money to his wallet, to his address. But unlike when I send a wire, which I know his information, he knows my information, personal information, a check, everyone knows your information, including your address, is often on your check. When you send money when you send a digital coin to an address and it ends up in his wallet, my personal information is now tied to it. Now, I probably would not send him money unless I was telling him I was sending him a Bitcoin, but it's not tied to it. And that is the beautiful thing about the blockchain and transmitting digital assets, is that you do not have to tie your personal information. So now it's in his wallet. What does that mean? Is it like a leather wallet? Is it a lock and chain? It's a digital wallet, and you control your digital wallet with those crypto keys we talked about. And there's really two types of digital wallets. There's a self-custodial digital wallet, and a MetaMask is a big one. And you could, you have to be a crypto bro, but you could keep your digital keys in your self-custodial wallet. I know lots of people in the freedom economy and the DeFi economy want to hold their wallet, want to keep control of their crypto keys. But let's say you don't. Let's say you want it to be in a third-party custodial wallet. And there's lots of them like Coinbase, Gemini, BitGo. That's up to you. So when you think of wallet, it's really just refers to who's holding my crypto keys that then controls my digital assets. Michael, the most innovative man in banking. Did I get all that right?
You sure did.
All right. Now let's talk about what that digital asset is. It's a token, the next term. And the token is just a generic term that we use to describe digital assets. And you all know a lot of the specific terms like Bitcoin. That's a token, but people don't say, I'm going to send you a token. They're going to say, no, I'm going to send you a Bitcoin or an ETH or a stablecoin. A stablecoin is nothing but a payment token, but folks generally use the term stablecoin. And then there's utility tokens, and that's a fast-moving area, and we are going to have a solution for this so people can, in later 2026, when we talk about gold and precious metal and tokenizing it, that's what we're talking about, and that is coming at Old Glory Bank, folks, so be ready for that. And so you can also be a utility token. So they're just a fancy word. So don't get thrown off by token. Blockchain's easy. Wallet's easy. Self-custodian or third-party custodian. Token is just a fancy, all-encompassing word for the various assets. Last is DeFi. Now, this is why we're all here, folks, because all this other stuff is good and some of the folks are doing it well, but no one's going to do it like Old Glory Bank. So DeFi stands for the decentralized finance. I like to use the word DeFi economy because it's a group of people who believe in decentralized finance. And it's just a global concept of the entire digital ecosystem. It's all the things we just talked about. Blockchain, wallets, tokens, exchanges. It's just an encompassing term. But what's so great about the DeFi economy is that we're not relying on centralized institutions like the government or the big bad banks or even Nacha or the credit cards. And you can use the DeFi economy through smart contracts that we'll talk about and without interference. Now, there always will be some interference from either your exchange or your bank, especially if you're using a bank-based stablecoin, which I think is the future under the Genius Act, and we have one coming that you'll see. So I always focus. Remember, you ultimately have to trust probably one third party, even if you're going to be in the DeFi economy for something. And you got to pick a bank that you trust. And I humbly submit to you that Old Glory Bank is the bank that you can trust. So when you have the DeFi economy, you have open access. There's no account minimums, there's no branch hours, there's no approval queues. So if you want to send 1 million stablecoin in the middle of night to someone, it's getting there, and we don't need a bank in the middle of it. And that's the transparency aspect of the DeFi economy. The entire world will know that you sent $1 million, but what's so critical is they won't know it's you. They'll just know $1 million was sent on the blockchain of whatever token you use or stablecoin, OGB USD, for example, that you use. So if you tell someone it sent it and there's the address, they will know that they have it and that they got it. And so no longer can the world say the check is in the mail, because you can look on the blockchain and prove that the check was not in the mail. No longer can you say, oh, I sent that wire. It must be my bank. It must be your bank. Let me get you a Fed reference number. All that goes away. It's clearly written on the blockchain that anyone can see that wants to look. They just won't know it's I sent it or that the recipient was the person. And that's the key to a decentralized economy, is what's happening. You just can't prove who was doing it. And then last is the programmability of the DeFi economy. It makes things much easier, from liquidity access lines that you'll hear about, the stablecoin minting that you'll hear about, all this great stuff we're going to do at Old Glory Bank you're about to hear about in 2 minutes. And this is where Old Glory Bank comes in. I believe fiat is not going away. You're still going to want some cash. You're still going to want a traditional debit card. You're still going to want a traditional credit card. You're probably not every employer that you work for is going to pay you in a Old Glory Bank stablecoin. And so you can't get rid of fiat. And so the key is, how do you meld the great fiat solution of a great bank like Old Glory Bank with everything else? In the old days, well, today, until we launch, you have to connect your bank account maybe to an exchange or to a wallet, all that stuff, and then send your money through Plaid or a card, spend money, card networks, or wire, waste money and time, and ACH. All of it comes together with the next generation of banking. And in the end, folks, remember this: if you're going to have any fiat solution, or if you're going to use a US-based stablecoin, you have to trust a party behind it. And I would submit to you, there's no party that's more reliable than Old Glory Bank, because there is only one banker that's crazy like me, that's not afraid of anyone or anything, and I will stand between you and political persecution. And if, in summary, you can't be canceled from the DeFi economy if you're with a bank that you trust, and you can trust Old Glory Bank. And now let me just clarify one last thing, and we're going to turn it over to the most innovative man in banking. If you are a bad actor, do not think you're going to bank at Old Glory Bank and you're going to get by stuff. We have one of the most aggressive, intelligent fraud teams, risk teams on the planet of banking. And so Old Glory Bank is not a bank for bad actors. Old Glory Bank is a bank for law-abiding people who believe in limited government, no oversight, the Fourth Amendment, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and most importantly, freedom and the flag. So if you're a good actor, bank with us and use our next-gen banker. If not, I will be the first person to throw you out and send you to a big bad prison, because we do not accept bad actors. So Old Glory Bank is the perfect solution if you trust freedom and the flag, but we are not the right solution if you're a bad actor. Speaking of good actors, Michael Staw, I'm going to stop sharing here and let you do a demo, and I believe you are going to be phenomenal and not disappoint. Is that true?
I'm not going to be disappointed.
No one's going to be disappointed. You're the best
Oh,
at this. Thank you.
yes. All right, here we go. All right. So first of all, thanks for that intro. Very kind to me, but I have to say, first of all, that well, before that, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. And your
All right.
beautiful face.
So before that, I have to say that this is the product of a lot of work by a team of people who are dedicated every day to doing banking right, to looking back at the problems as if we're solving them from the beginning, rather than looking at stapled on, pasted, Velcroed solutions that are slapped one on top of another. We looked at the whole crypto problem as how should we view the problem as if we wanted to solve it to make it easy for users to use rather than just blending into the current system. So this is our vision of crypto banking, of how your banking meets the crypto world in a reimagined way. And the other thing that I'll say is that everything I'm going to show you today is actually real stuff. There is no smoke and mirrors here. All the transactions are being written out to either a core that we implemented specifically for this purpose, or for blockchain transactions, they're being written out to the genuine blockchain. And you'll see sometimes transactions take a little longer or a little shorter than other transactions, but that's an artifact of writing to the actual blockchain. There's no smoke and mirrors. Everything you see here is real and implemented only on our test servers only. So with that said, here is our vision of the merger of crypto banking, well, of crypto and banking. And the first thing you'll note is that this is just like regular banking in that you've got all the features that you've grown to know and love at Old Glory Bank. And you don't have to give up anything just because you're moving to crypto banking or because we're allowing these crypto features within the banking ecosystem. Instead, we unlock new features. Like, for example, you can see it in here, we show current crypto prices. Now, anybody can show crypto prices. That's not such a big innovation to blend that into banking. But what is cool is that in addition to your regular accounts, you can also see your crypto wallet accounts. And what we do is we give you a mechanism to link your wallet, and that wallet could be self-custodial, or it can be a hardware wallet, or it can be a wallet that is custodial that we maintain for you in a future release where we're supporting custodial wallets. But the important thing is that you've got control over this wallet, and the fact that it's displayed here is for your convenience and for your use. It does not give us control over your money. So it still fits within the overall framework of DeFi and your personal control.
So Michael, as I'm looking at the assets in your wallet, is this your self-custodial wallet or is this our custodial wallet?
This is my self-custodial wallet that's running on a test chain. So this is not my actual balance, but this is my test chain wallet.
And what self-custodial wallet do you use?
I'm using MetaMask, but we're
MetaMask guy.
All sorts of stuff.
Great. So at launch, folks, you'll be able to connect multiple different types of self-custodial wallets. At phase 2, which we think will launch a couple months later, we are going to have a great custodial wallet for folks who don't want to deal with their own wallet. Is that correctly said, Michael?
Very much. Yep.
All right. So everything you see here today is Michael's MetaMask wallet. So don't give away his address, or if you do, go ahead and send him something.
Yeah, that's fine. So when you're running with your own custodial wallet or with our custodial wallet, the interface is the same and you interact with things just the same way. Things are maybe slightly different for Ledger where you have to enter external passwords, but by and large, what you see is what you get. Now, the thing that we really focused hard on was the problem that so many people come to us with. How do I get money on and off the chain? How do I participate in the blockchain? And the barrier that people have very often is moving money from their bank to their crypto wallet in the form of either stablecoin or buying ETH or whatever token you want to work with. That process is difficult. You either have to use a credit card or you have to link your bank account, and the friction points along the way and the fees and the exchange rates that you get can all add to inefficiency in getting your money on and additional time and waiting periods. And we just thought that this is a backwards way of thinking. We thought to ourselves, if you wanted to bring money onto the blockchain, why not just do it the same way you put money in your bank account? You just go to your account and you deposit it. So in this case, we thought, well, if you want to buy our stablecoin, all you have to do is select your account, select how much you want to buy, and just like that, this is going out to the blockchain. We're minting the stablecoin and depositing it into your wallet, and just like that, the very fastest on-ramp of fiat into crypto ever.
Just let me explain what happened then behind the scenes. So we took fiat out of one of your bank accounts. So if you scroll up, Michael, presumably that would be once it writes to the blockchain, your account would reduce, and then presumably in your recent transactions, you would show it.
Exactly.
And then we have a backing account.
You can see that right here in the on-ramp.
Perfect. We have a backing account where we then take that currency and we put it into a bank account required under the Genius Act, and then it sits in either cash or 90-day treasury. So someone always says, well, do I have FDIC insurance on my crypto, on my stable coin? And the answer is no. We'll talk about this later, but you don't need it because it's just sitting in cash and or 90-day treasuries. And even if it was FDIC insured, if cash and treasuries become worthless, so does FDIC insurance. So that's a great thing about a stable coin backing account is a bank can't loan it. There is no fractional banking. We can't, lose it. And so if you are using a bank or an authorized Genius Act, which today is mostly just banks, stablecoin, that money is as safe as currency can ever be. Now, you may be a person who doesn't think it's safe and want gold and precious metal, so that's coming in round two. And also hold it in digital assets, not in a stablecoin.
Yep. Let me tell you a little bit more about the safety and security of getting the money off the chain, because this is a problem when you start dealing with large amounts. When you want to sell your tokens, whether it's stablecoin or whether it's ETH or BTC, if you have a large transaction, in order to get the money back to fiat, in a traditional exchange, you have to go to the exchange and you have to exchange your tokens for fiat, where it goes out to one of several different processes, including liquidity pools and others. But if you have a large transaction, you might cause slippage, which makes your transaction less efficient. You might lose money because of price appreciation during your transaction. And what I'm trying to say is that, let's say you want to sell $10 million of stablecoin. Well, because the supply has to match the demand at the clearing price, your pressure on the sale might reduce the price that you receive for the coin. But at OGB, things are different. We are the only stablecoin that lets the individual account holder interact directly with the coin issuer. And what that means is that because we have your account, your stablecoin in your account, and we have one-to-one backing of the dollars that match the account, no matter what transaction size, you can always redeem it at exactly par with no slippage and no friction.
All right. Let's not get too nerdy on folks, but that's a big point, especially if you're doing in large dollar transactions. Now, listen, Old Glory Bank is a pretty cool bank, and we believe in it. And, folks that bank with us believe in it. But let's say I got to send money to someone in Italy. They never heard of Old Glory Bank. So what are they going to get, and what can they do with our stable coin?
Sure thing. I'm just going to complete this transaction. This is a sell just to show you how we get money off of the blockchain, and it goes right into your checking account or your savings account as you specify.
Beautiful. So it's in the middle of the night. I got to send $100,000 to a supplier in Italy. Well, let's pick Argentina with the re-elected great president down there. We got to send $100,000 to Argentina. What does that person do with $100,000 of Old Glory Bank stablecoin? Now we know it's worth $100,000 US because it's a stablecoin. It's not a Bitcoin or a non-stable asset, which does fluctuate, and that's okay. It fluctuates. It's a great hedge. But if I need to pay something, buy a house, buy a car, you're probably better off using a payment type of coin and not what I would call an asset coin like crypto or ETH or something. So, Michael, what does a person in Argentina do with $100,000 of OGB USD?
Well, there are a couple things. The easiest thing to do is use one of the easiest thing to do is go back to us and convert it to fiat,
or open an account once we get there.
That's the easy thing. But if you're talking about foreign countries, of course, then that's not a possibility right now. So you go to one of the local dexes, one of the dexes that supports your local currency, and you perform a swap of the OGB USD back into your local currency. And this is quick and easy and very low friction. And because our stablecoin is developed on the ERC20 standard, and we maintain liquidity pools, the transaction fee is very low to be able to convert it into your own currency. So it makes it very, very efficient for customers to send money offshore without any currency conversion problems or issues and spreads, for the recipient to receive it and then at very low cost convert it back into the local currency.
Beautiful. So there's no wires, there's no waiting, no confirmations. You send the coins, they'll see in the blockchain it's sent, and they'll have it, and they can keep it and send it to someone else. It's a backed one-to-one stable coin.
I'll just send 1,000 tokens to my friend Tony.
All right. So how are you going to do that?
So I opened up MetaMask. I selected OGB USD. I selected my recipient.
I don't think we see your MetaMask wallet. Did you just open it on your screen?
I did. So I did open it, and that is a problem sometimes on these screen shares. So all I've done is I opened up MetaMask. I selected my friend's account, and completely outside of the bank. And this is an important distinction, and goes to some of the things you were talking about earlier, that in order to send assets on the blockchain, you don't need the bank to be open. You don't need anybody else's permission. Completely outside of the bank, I went to my wallet and I sent money to my friend, and it's in the form of OGB USD, and he can redeem it or spend it or send it, anything that he wants.
Beautiful. Can I want you to scroll up? Maybe that's why we didn't see it, because you weren't scrolled up. And why don't you open it again and see if we can see your MetaMask wallet?
Let's see. Can you see it now?
Nope, somehow it's blocking that pop-up screen, which is fine. We'll just describe it's a standard MetaMask wallet. Problem is we can't show the exciting part that it's really in your MetaMask wallet and it's really written on the blockchain, but
No.
That's okay. No, we don't need to solve that today. We've all seen it in other podcasts where it did work. This is a Riverside, great company, but maybe it's not picking it up. All right, why don't you scroll back up, and let's say I've got love the stable coin, but let's say I've got a little bit of ETH, and I want to take it off, and I want to take my fiat off of the blockchain. How would I do that in the great old glory bank?
Right. So I'll walk you through this, since we are not showing the MetaMask interface. So in order to send money to your account, we figured, again, in accordance with first principles, how do people traditionally send money to their bank? Well, they just send it to their bank. They either bring it in, they use an ATM, they deposit a check to your account, a variety of ways to do it. And the whole process of using the blockchain to move money into fiat and then link up your bank account and send it just seemed backwards. So we thought, if you have assets in your crypto account, why not just send it to this OGB Freedom off-ramp? And what happens is that we watch this contract that's address is listed here. We watch this contract 24/7. We watch for new transactions coming in, and when we spot a transfer that comes from a wallet that's been linked to an OGB account, we automatically take the funds that are received through that transfer. We search far and wide for the very best fill price to convert that back into fiat. And we look at the exchanges, we look at the oracles, we will trade against our own inventory in certain cases. We'll go out to the dexes. We do everything we can to find the very best fill price, and instantly we drop it into your checking account. So all right,
so let me just summarize that. You'll go into your MetaMask wallet, you'll type in the OGB Freedom off-ramp, which is our proprietary solution, and then you'll send your ETH to the OGB Freedom off-ramp. We'll get you the best conversion price, and then we'll put the fiat into your account. And if you did that right now,
and it's not limited to just ETH. It'll take
all the major coins, all the major tokens, as we learned is the term that we use. All the major tokens. That's great. And so this is where we basically become a mini exchange. We're going to be less costly and less friction than anyone, but there will be a slight cost to it. But we're going to look at it almost like an ATM fee, give you a certain number a month free, and then if you exceed that, maybe there's a little fee. But our goal is to bank you. We don't need to just make money off of exchanges, and that's where I think we're different than a lot of the other exchanges. Let's say, Michael, listen, I'm a believer in Bitcoin. I think it's going to go to 1 million, and speaking for some folks who believe that. And I don't want to sell my Bitcoin, but I need some cash to pay my rent, to buy a car, maybe do a trip. Can I borrow against my Bitcoin so I don't have to sell it, pay tax, and get a 1099?
You can, although I only have ETH loaded up here. So let me show you that with ETH, although Bitcoin works symmetrically.
So I want to do it with my ETH then.
So all you need to do is you need to go to this item that I brought up, borrow OGB USD, and you can pledge any amount of ETH in your account or other tokens as we release them, and borrow up to the LTV max against that. So let's say I want.
So let me say this in English while you so this is called a liquidity access line, meaning it's almost like a margin account if you've done stocks, where we allow you to pledge your ETH. You don't have to sell it. And you can still see it, as Michael will say, you'll still see it in your wallet, but it will have a little indication that you've pledged it. And the LTV stands for loan to value. We obviously don't loan 100% like you wouldn't in a margin either. And we don't know yet what the max LTV will be for any given token until we launch, but we're working on that now. So this is just an example. It's 35. So if someone thinks that's crazy, don't get upset today. These are just examples. The interest rate's just an example. We don't know what it actually will be until we get ready to launch next quarter. And we don't know what the automatic approval will be. We're going to have a limit. Let's say it's 10,000 for now, where you don't even need to talk to a human. No humans involved. It's all automatic, digital through this, where you pledge your ETH, for example, at the right LTV, and we put the fee, and then we convert it to. I think we do a Old Glory. We keep it on the blockchain and give you a stable coin, right, Michael? Today.
Yep.
So great. Why don't you continue on with that then?
All right, so I hit borrow, and what you couldn't see come up was a series of approvals where I approved the contract, I approved the spending limit, and
All the fair
accepted.
lending stuff for you bankers out there.
Mhm. And what's happening now is we're going out to the blockchain. It's executing against our liquidity asset line contract, where it is taking your collateral, putting it into a reserve account, which is still visible to you because transparency is very important to make sure that you can always see what assets that not only you have, but we have on your behalf, because your assets are your assets no matter where they are. So
Great. So there you
the
can
loan was
see.
issued, the coin was issued to my account, and here we are.
Great. So now you can pay that back when you want. The interest is continual. You can pay it back 24/7. If you need more, you can just pledge more. Now, let's say crypto, this ETH drops in price. They'll get to a point where you'll approach that loan to value, that LTV, where we start getting worried, and we should. We're a bank and we've loaned you money. And then you'll have an option to either pay back so that you get closer to that LTV that we want, or pledge more collateral. And if not, then a little countdown clock. I'm not sure if you can show that here, Michael. Probably not if we don't go to the admin
No,
screen.
no, we can't do that.
But a little countdown clock will come up. And I hear, Michael, people are having a hard time hearing you. So if you can just speak up a little bit. I just got a chat. And so that's how, folks, the liquidity access line, we think, is one of the most important components of everything. If you're doing business on an exchange or anywhere where you can't get cash, fiat, or value out of your crypto, you're with the wrong company. That's why you've got to be with Old Glory Bank when we launch this, because you shouldn't have to sell something to unlock it, just like stocks in a margin account. So we're very proud of this product. The back end of it's really impressive. And let's say you wanted to buy a $3 million home with your crypto. We of course would not do that automatically through this. We would still look at some underwriting, but you could buy a $3 million home. All you've got to do is be a customer in good standing, and you have access to this liquidity access line. So for folks who love digital assets, now a stable coin, you would not generally post a stable coin because it doesn't fluctuate in value. It's a dollar for dollar. It's like posting cash. That wouldn't make any sense. So these are for digital assets that aren't like dollar for dollar, that have a value, and they're freely marketable. And we're going to have 10s, 20, 30 different coins at launch, tokens at launch, Michael, for our liquidity access line, is my belief, right?
I would say so. We're going to look at least the top major coins and make them available. What we're interested in, things that minimize the daily fluctuations, so we can give as much LTV as possible.
Beautiful. So this is all good. This is a great consumer interface. You see all of your banking, your crypto on one page. You move money on and off blockchain like no one's ever done it before. You have a liquidity access line. Here's an example of paying it back. Now let's jump in our limited time, Michael, before we get to some questions. Let's jump to the next greatest thing that Old Glory Bank is doing, unless you want to show a payback.
I'm just entering this so I can pay back. I like to pay back my loan before I log off.
Very smart. You don't want me calling you and say,
I want you
Michael,
coming after me. All right, let me come back as a business account.
So log in as a company. Now I'm going to borrow one of our clients' name. Very proud that Heritage Foundation is banking with us. These are not their real balances. They're a very good customer, but we're going to use Heritage Foundation as I have before, because I think Heritage Foundation is a great example of a company that we believe is going to have a payment stablecoin. Now you'd say, well, Mike, why do they need you to have a payment stablecoin? And the reason why is because under the Genius Act, only banks or regulated entities who comply with some TBD regulations that don't exist yet can issue a stablecoin. So we call this as a stablecoin as a service. This will be phase 2 of our launch. We'll do phase 1 next quarter. This probably comes quarter 2, quarter 3, where we go to our customers, our corporate customers, and say, you should have a stablecoin, pay all your employees, pay all your vendors anywhere in the world under your brand. It's a great affinity for your customers. Think of the NRA, Heritage, Hillsdale College, the SEC, all those people I hope will be our customer on this. So Michael is logged in as our great customer, Heritage Foundation, and he is going to create a Heritage coin that will be just like our OGB USD, but all managed and backed by us with their money.
All right, now behind the scenes, we're creating this stablecoin, and there's a lot of moving parts behind the scenes. We're creating the actual smart contracts that govern this coin. We are segregating the accounts. We're creating a separation between the general fund where the bank keeps money and the specific account where the accounts that back this stablecoin will reside. Right now, that's $0 because you can't create something from nothing. And
no, Michael. The Federal Reserve does that all the time. So that's not true. So take that back. Unless you're the Federal Reserve, you can't create something out of nothing.
That is true. That is true. We're gonna not create something from nothing, but we're gonna make value from this, though. All right. So now the stablecoin is created, and you can see in this lower right panel, HUSD is available for use in the business account, and it has $0 in it because we haven't allocated any to it. But of course, if we want to create some value, let's take $100,000 and move it into HUSD stablecoin. And now this is going out to the blockchain. It's minting the coin, and you can see now that the coin is in my balance and it's ready to spend. If I could pull down my MetaMask, then I could show you the.
Yeah, it's okay. So folks go to our podcast, I think episode 4 or 5, whatever we did together, all on the front page of our website. We actually used a different technology and it showed the MetaMask. And so that once you can see the MetaMask, you can see it actually being, when it's in the MetaMask, you know it's written to the blockchain.
But what you can see is that in my accounts, the account balance has been reduced. And in recent activity, here's the mint, and you can see that the activity has been recorded on the blockchain.
Beautiful. So now Heritage has these coins. They can pay their employees. They can get them out in circulation. They, with our help, and we'll have a person who does this, with their help, can set up liquidity pools so it can be used around the world, just like ours. It'll be in the ERC20 and plus any other standard that we think is right with the right type of liquidity pools. And boom, a great company like Heritage Foundation now has a coin. Why would you ever send a wire? My favorite thing to say is that we need to fly over the top of the Federal Reserve. We need to transact finance transactions directly through digital currency. Fly over the top of the Federal Reserve. Fly over the top of the credit card companies. Fly over the top of Nacha. Go direct is my humble view. And this will allow you to do it in the new world of decentralized finance. All right, Michael, well, that was very well done. Notwithstanding we couldn't see your MetaMask wallet. It's okay. Why don't you stop sharing? And I'm going to, I know we're getting some live questions here, and also we got some email questions in advance. I am going to open up some of those questions, and Michael, I'm going to read it, and then I'll quickly decide if it's you or me answering it. All right, first one. We're not going to go long, folks. Don't worry. We're going to try to save a few minutes for real questions. First one I got is, what is the difference between digital currency and CBDC, central bank digital currency? Is a stablecoin the same as central bank digital currency? No, 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 no. So this is the greatest thing. The central bank digital currency, there would be nothing worse. That is where literally you remove fiat and create a digital currency that the government, the central bank, could then track. I believe that even under existing law, the Federal Reserve could not do a central bank digital currency. I'm not saying about other countries, but the Federal Reserve could not. Under existing law, it would have taken an act of Congress signed by the president. I think the president has clarified that, and I think they've even put in the Genius Act and another upcoming law where they're specifically making it clear that the Federal Reserve cannot do a central bank digital currency. So whoever is out there, and we get this question a lot, worried that, oh no, I don't like digital currency. It's part of the central bank digital currency, CBDC, bad, bad, bad. It's just the opposite. All of this is part of the DeFi, not central bank, but the decentralized, the worldwide bank of currency. So that is a good thing. Next question. What security measures will be in place against theft or hacking? What security will you provide against search and seizure or government freezing in accounts? That's 2 questions, Michael. I'm going to let you take the first one. Mm-hmm. What security measures will be in place against theft or hacking? And now, if you think about it, we've got fiat issues and wallet issues. And what say you, smart man?
All right, so here are the big 10 polls. Number 1, what protects the backing accounts for the stablecoin and all the assets that you have with us is traditional banking controls, which we're very good at. But with regard to your own personal wallet, the main thing is that we don't want or need your keys to your wallet. So if you choose to use a self-custodial wallet, we have no power to access that wallet whatsoever. So your security is still well within your control. Now, when it comes to custodial wallets that you have with us, we have big security protocols that we're working on now to give you the same level of security that you expect from a bank. But if you want to maintain your own security, you don't want to give us our keys, don't give us your keys. Maintain your own security, keep your own business your own, and there's no risk because you haven't even given us access.
It's your money, it's your business. But you bring up a very good point, Michael. If there's an account takeover today, much less risk at Old Glory Bank because we're so good, but there's a risk that someone then sends wires, does transactions, bleeds your money out. Theoretically, the way we're setting up, if there's an account takeover, if you make a mistake and give someone your bank account information, it will not also allow them to get to your wallet.
That's
absolutely
correct.
not. And even if it's weak custodial for you, we are going to have 2 different firewalls. Someone's going to have to breach multiple times to get to that. So there's a risk in everything, but we think we have that one handle. Now, the more important question, which is political. What security will you provide against search and seizure or government freezing accounts? We are going to push it to the limit, as we all do, to the extent of the Constitution and law. And that's just the fact. We are a law and order bank. If you're a bad actor, do not bank with us. And I will tell you, at Old Glory Bank, we frequently get, you've all heard about Arctic Fossil. I'm about to do a podcast on that. That was just the opposite. That was the government going after senators and conservative organizations and banks and phone companies willy-nilly giving up their data. We do not do that. I frequently push back on subpoenas, administrative subpoenas that are not appropriate, and I file motions to quash or tell the customer to. So you do, this is what I say. You have got to bank with someone you trust. You have got to do business with someone you trust, because the government does have a right to actually, and we want them to seize the assets of bad actors. But if you're not a bad actor and it's political, that's where you got to trust Old Glory Bank. And unlike every other bank CEO, because I was a lawyer for 30 years, this is what I always tell the government. Unless there are very rare exceptions apply, such as a real grand jury subpoena or a court order requiring a subpoena to not be disclosed, we tell our customers when they get a subpoena, so they always have an opportunity to file a motion to quash. And no other bank does that. No other bank understands those issues, but I do. Now, the last thing people have to know, it's important who you do business with as a stablecoin, is that the Stablecoin Genius Act requires the bank to freeze, seize, and burn. So if your coin does end up with North Korea or with Iran, you've got to be able, or a very bad actor, Jeffrey Epstein, you've got to be able to freeze, seize it. So you ultimately, and the technology exists for a bank to do that, or they couldn't issue a coin under the Genius Act. So you have to trust your bank. Otherwise, you might as well be doing business like you are today. All right, enough preaching. Next question. What rails will be supported by OGB? Well, let me just correct the question and then have you answer it, Michael. I think the correct term would be not rails, but what chains, or i.e. blockchains. So over to you, innovative man. What rails, what chains will be supported by Old Glory Bank?
So let me start by saying that these are not finalized, but here's our thinking so far. We are our first launch will be on the EVM chains. That includes things like Polygon, Optimism, Base, ETH, BNB, Pulse. So we've got a bunch of things that'll be in our very first release, and quick followers to that are going to be XRP, and of course BTC is mixed in there. So we've got a big array of chains that we're supporting.
A lot of our customers love XRP, so we will get to that.
Oh yeah, that is definitely on our list.
Great. Next up, will OGB hold my cryptocurrency without the use of the OGB stablecoin? Can I keep it in my cold wallet? Yeah, Mike, we've kind of talked about this already, but go ahead and talk about this.
So we're compatible with virtually every wallet solution. So if you want to keep your self-custody of your wallet, you want to use your cold storage, that's fine. It changes how you enter your passwords for transactions. But if you're using cold wallet, you're already used to that. So it's no change from your current procedure.
Yep, and we talked about that. We're going to launch with, you can use a lot of different self-custodians. Then we're going to follow up with our custodial wallet, which we think will be one of the best. And brings up this question. What is the cost for OGB's, our custodial wallet? What is the fee for buying crypto? Are gas fees going to be visible prior to transfer? Oh, these are great questions. First of all, the cost for using our custodial wallet, of course, MetaMask is free. If you connect it, it's free. So we're going to have a great wallet to make it really easy for folks who don't want to deal with it. And so what is the cost? Let me think. It's free on one condition. It's free so long as you have an account in good standing with Old Glory Bank, which of course you will, or we would be having this conversation. And you have to promise that once a time a day, tell everyone that you bank at Old Glory Bank and that you love it. If you do that, it's free, and I will trust your honor system. And even if you don't do that, it's still free. But please tell the world how great Old Glory Bank is. All right, that's our custodial wallet. Next question was, what is the fees for buying crypto? Are the gas fees going to be visible prior to transfer? The fees today are going to be tough, Michael, and jump on me if I say it wrong. We're going to try to get you the best spot price. We're going to have a minimum number of trades, getting you that best price that we can for free. And then there are going to be some fees. We're trying to figure everything out. But even if it's internal or external fees, before you press confirm that last time, we will have a little dashboard that tells you the cost. Is that correct, Michael?
That's correct. Let me add one thing though. On stablecoin generation, minting and burning, these things are likely to be fee free because we're
not likely. Fee free. As long as you tell everyone you love Old Glory Bank.
Fee free because we're running these transactions from our own wallet, paying our own gas for your transaction.
Love it. Thank you. How does FDIC insurance, I talked about this, work in relation to stablecoin and crypto? And what is the difference with this compared to my traditional bank account? there is no FDIC insured on a stable coin. You're like, whoa, 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 I love the FDIC. Well, hopefully you don't, but let's say you really do love the FDIC. You don't need FDIC insurance because your cash is always, your fiat is always in cash or 90-day treasuries. And as I said earlier, if cash and 90-day treasuries in America is worthless, then it doesn't matter what the FDIC is. So you could say, listen, I don't trust cash, I don't trust 90-day treasuries, then hold your money in gold, precious metals, crypto, whatever you want. But if you want a stable coin to do traditional transactions or your fiat, when your fiat sits in the bank, you need FDIC insurance because the bank does fractional banking and loans out your money. If those loans go bad, you as a depositor have to protect it. Now, I've done an entire podcast on this. I don't actually like fractional banking, even though I'm a banker, which is why we have such a high liquidity. But with a stable coin, you don't have that risk because banks cannot loan out your money. So is that a good answer, Michael?
That is a great answer.
May I onboard my crypto holdings under my OGB business account? Are there features unique to business that customers' accounts won't have? Yes and yes. So whether we absolutely are going to have a great wallet solution. Let's just say you're a normal construction company and you want to make a lot of money and you just want to, instead of storing it at the bank, get whatever interest rate or buying stocks and bonds, you just want to buy Bitcoin or ETH or any other type of digital asset. We will have a great wallet for you. We already talked about it. It's not only for consumers, but for businesses, and it will be one of the best. So you can just store your asset in your wallet and let it appreciate, sell it, get a loan against it, whatever you want to do. So that's what you, and then what's unique to business customers is what we said a minute ago. You can do everything you can as a consumer customer, plus you can issue your own stable coin, and we will be the bank behind the backing and the regulatory compliance of your stable coin. Did I get that right, Michael?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm sorry I'm hogging all these, but I'm just so excited. Will OGB offer a treasury management solution like Anchorage does for customers? I'm sorry to say to Anchorage, yes, and 10 times better. No disrespect, love those guys. In fact, I testified with their CEO, great guy, but we are a fiat solution. So not only will you be able to hold your treasury assets, you'll be able to do everything else that you can with the traditional bank. And so we're really proud of our solution, and that is coming. Will OGB handle foreign currency exchange and offer various multi-currency accounts as well as crypto and precious metal investments? We've teased all this. Well, as Michael said, we don't really need to convert cash into the yen, the Japanese yen anymore, because you're just going to send someone the stable coin and then our stable coin, and then in their local country, they will convert it on one of the exchanges. And that's what's so great about this. If you owe someone money in Japan, just send them our stable coin and let them convert it. You don't have to convert it and then send it, involve 3 different banks and SWIFT and all the things that we hate. And then lastly, as well as crypto and precious, folks, listen, I'm a huge fan of fiat. I'm a huge fan of land. I'm a huge fan of rare collectibles. I'm a huge fan of crypto. I'm a huge fan of stocks. I'm a huge fan of precious metals. I'm a fan of everything. And we are going to have a tokenized solution for precious metals. Q3, Q4, is that you're thinking, Michael? That is going to blow everyone away. So if you're like, I ain't touching crypto, not now, not ever, that's fine. Stand by if you're a precious metal person. What's difficult about precious metals, it's tough to take a block of gold and give it to someone, and you're going to have to rely. And so once we tokenize that gold, we'll have regional vaults. And once you tokenize that gold, you'll be able to send tokens. Did I explain that big idea we have, Michael, that you created
That's
already?
right. And the advantage is that there'll be no slippage, just like in the stablecoin, because it's gold backed with real ounces in a real vault, that there will be no slippage no matter what your transaction size.
Beautiful. I'm telling you, he's the most innovative man in banking. You got a bank at Old Glory Bank. How will transactions be tracked for tax reporting purposes? Will you provide 1099s? So folks, I hate this answer, but because I'm a lawyer and we're an honorable law and order bank, we're always going to do the right thing under law. So if we want to change law, we need to change law. So yes, when you sell a digital asset, you will get a 1099. I think it's 1099 DA. And we have to report the gross proceeds to the IRS. So the IRS will know. So here's what I will tell you. The easy solution is don't sell your crypto unless you need to. Get a loan. We just make it so easy for you. And so get a loan, and you never, if you love it, crypto, then don't sell it. Just get a loan against it and run your life. That's not a transaction that would be taxable. But here is the problem with the 1099 DA. And I'm trying to get the Secretary Besant to talk to him. So if anyone knows him, he will not return my call. Tell him to call Mike Ring in Old Glory Bank. Right now, the way that form is written, and it is wrong. Right now, the way that form is written, you have to report even a stablecoin transaction, which is ridiculous because a stablecoin transaction does not fluctuate in price. It's always one for one. It'd be like having to report a check. It's ridiculous. So I am trying to get to the Treasury and tell them to change this damn form because it is wrong. And I don't think it's constitutional, by the way. But I'm not the guy who's going to fight that just yet. So someone get to him, help me start the trend. I totally agree. Like if you sell land, if you sell anything, stock, you're going to get a 10.9 interest rate. We send 10.9s for interest because there's appreciation, there's gain. There is no gain when you move in and out of a stable coin. And it's ridiculous that there's going to be a 1099 DA. I don't know what I'm going to do about what I'm going to do about this prior to that first filing, but it is not right. And so we got to get to Secretary Bessent and say, remove stable coins from the 1099 DA. Help me with that. Are you going to help me with that, Michael?
I am, but let's make one other point. When you send a coin from an account to another account, that is not a redemption. And that actually happens outside of our system. That happens within your own self-custodial wallet. So if you would like to pay somebody with a stable coin or with any sort of token, we're not involved with that.
Perfectly said. So what you're saying, Michael, is move your cash into stable coins and never get out of stable coins, and there will be no transaction. Well said. Now, this is coming from our token Democrat. I'm just gonna come clean with you people right now. Michael Staw is a Democrat. Now, he is a fair-minded guy. Went to Princeton when Princeton was a real college and not woke, and his dad is actually off the boat from Israel. Massive conservative, pro-America, but Michael had a good life. Son of a doctor, went to Princeton, so he's a confused Democrat, but he's
Let's see what the chat says now.
Just want to let you know that when we say we don't cancel people for what you believe,
I'm still an okay guy.
my dear friend, 30 years, partner at Old Glory Bank, is a Democrat. Now, he's not a crazy leftist socialist like his friend in Mondami. No, Mondami's not your friend. All right.
All right. But now, since you brought politics up, I will say this one thing. There are certain things that know no politics. The ideas of privacy, security, liberty, that has nothing to do with party. Who doesn't want privacy? Who doesn't want security? Who doesn't want
who doesn't love America and freedom?
Who doesn't want a solid banking solution that doesn't discriminate against what you do, who you are, what you believe in, and what your thoughts are? Whether you believe in me or you don't, doesn't matter. We don't have to agree on what we believe in, except that we should all have fair treatment for banking and our finances.
So what you're saying is you didn't leave the party left you. No, you haven't even left the party.
I'm saying I'm here to serve us and our customers, and I'm going to do the best job I can every day.
Yes, no, Michael's the best. Thank you, Michael. That's well said. And I'm not going to out-debate him because he's way smarter than I am. Will there be a way to link our current crypto holding, i.e. Coinbase or Gemini? They must mean connect the bank to those exchanges, to those wallets?
Let me take that. So the answer is yes and a little bit no, but mostly yes. The answer is that in Coinbase and some of these other systems, they have two versions of their wallets. They have the custodial version of their wallet and the self-custodial version of the wallet. The self-custodial version, you'll have no problem linking because it is a singular account. On their custodial versions, those are pooled accounts and you won't be able to link them directly. So I recommend that if you want to stay with Coinbase or any of those systems, that you use their custodial version of their wallet, and then we'll integrate very smoothly.
Great. I didn't understand a word you just said, but it sounds good. So thank you. Is that the last question? All right. I went through all the pre-populated questions. I'm very proud of myself. All right. Producer team behind the scene who double duty, bankers by day and night, and this by. Let's look at some chats.
I saw one thing on the chat that looks interesting to me, and I don't have an answer, and I'm going to need the support from the chat people. There are a lot of people mention tokens that they'd like us to support, and we'd like to support them all, especially the EVM tokens. But I'd like to see if we can put together a survey or maybe mail in after the fact. I don't want to be a burden on support, but how can we figure out what the demand is from our customer base to know the priority list among our viewers?
Okay, great. I guess we got some questions up above here. People want to know when this will be happening. This is a great question. I should have led with that. So here's, folks, what we are doing. We are going to launch this, if all goes as planned, February or March for phase one. Phase one will have everything you saw today, except for stablecoin as a service. That's going to be phase two, maybe April, May. Precious metals will be Q3, but the liquidity access line will be at launch. So the important things you want: a great unified dashboard where you can see your crypto prices, your self-custodial wallet. You'll be able to move money on and off the blockchain, use our stable coin. We'll have the liquidity pool set up. We'll be on the RC20. You'll be able to move money to our OGB Freedom address, get money off it. You'll be able to do the liquidity access lines. We'll have, but then phase two, again, a little bit later in the year, will be our custodial wallet and our stablecoin as a service. So we are months away. Michael, we're canceling any more sleep. The team's getting even harder working, so we're very proud. I said some things come together. A couple things have to come together behind the scenes that we're working hard to do. We had to raise a little bit more money, which we're working hard on, and I don't want to. This is not a sales tool, but if you all want to be an owner in this, it's own@oldglorybank.com. I think we have a pathway to have the money that we need to launch this. It requires additional capital and not additional cost to do what we're going to do. It's all in-house. Michael's been working on this for a very long time. So if you want to be an owner at oldglorybank.com, now is the time. Go to own.oldglorybank.com and help us out. Do you know what percentage your stablecoin might earn? That's a great question. Today, and I think there's some workarounds that people are looking at, we have not. Today does not allow you to pay interest on the stablecoin, and here's why. If we paid interest on the money that you back your stablecoin, then we would have to make money to pay you that interest, which means fractional banking, we'd have to loan out and it would create risk. So I got to hand it to the people, the Senate committee and Trump for signing this, President Trump for signing this. This is a very smart law. They do not want to create fractional banking with a stable coin because that's what we have today, which everyone hates. It's why we have inflation. And so your stable coin backing money sits there. We don't loan it out, so we can't make interest, so we can't pay you interest. And that is, it's a good thing. So the answer is there won't. If you want an appreciating asset, buy a bond, a CD, a stock, a digital currency, but it's not a stable coin. And no fractional banking. Stable coin is one for a reason. And if we all go to stable coin, then maybe the Federal Reserve would quit printing money. Coming up on the screen, will you offer staking for the OGB coin? Michael, what say you?
It is something we're looking at right now. So in our back room, we've built a stake for it. We built a staking system. Now that ties directly into the interest argument. So if it turns out that we're able to do it and we can do it within a safe way, then it's something we're considering.
Yep, great. Even for those that have I don't know if if our webinar participants can see the question, so I'll read it that I'm seeing. Even for those who have charitable religious trust, which is completely tax exempt and nonprofit, where we don't have to file, will you still have to receive a 1099 from OGB? I don't know the answer to that question. That is a very good question. I have not yet set our first 1099 DA. I will look at that. Thank you for challenging me. Maybe I should know that as a lawyer, but I actually don't know that as I think about this. So let me TBD on that. It's a great question. So I'm putting it on my list. Will you use United Crypto for paper cryptocurrency? Michael Staw, I don't know what that means, United Crypto.
I am not familiar with that.
All right. I'm sorry, Johnny Williams. Reach out to us directly. Hey, by the way, folks, my real email is MikeRing@oldglorybank.com. MikeRing@oldglorybank.com. I'm the only bank CEO on the planet that you can get to him or her. So send me an email. Jerry, I think it was Jerry Williams who wrote that. Reach out to me and ask me that question because I don't know the answer, but I'll find it. Next question. Anybody? Going once, going twice. Here's one. Chuck Lee. Will this call be archived for future reference? Can a link for this be sent to us? Of course. And so we'll send it to, let's not stop with Chuck. Send it to the entire world and send it to Scott Bessent. He needs to amend 1099 DA tomorrow. Get it to someone on this call must know how to get to him. I know he's out trying to save the world with all the terrorists, but he needs to fix this for America. All right, what else we got? That's it? All right, I guess we weren't very entertaining. That's all the questions we got, Michael. Well, my brother, you really do not have a face for radio. I don't care what your mama says. You got a face for podcasts, and I'm so glad that you did this with us, and it's been fun. It's been an honor. Folks, we're going to keep it going. Bank at Old Glory Bank. We got the best products and service, the best loans, the best everything, the best people. Our call center's in Durant, Oklahoma, not offshore. And then we're going to have the best crypto solution. It's not even close. And if you're not an owner of Old Glory Bank, all ownership has risks. Read all of the 6,000 pages that I wrote hard with my team, but consider it owned at oldglorybank.com. Let's be a part of this. Let's be the DeFi economy, Michael. Don't you agree?
I agree.
We let Democrats in. It's okay. I love you, brother. I love everyone. Thank you all for doing this, folks. MikeRing@oldglorybank.com if you need anything.